Hello everyone, welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm Roger Nathaniel Ashtier.
I'm John Pock.
And I'm Colin Chan.
In this video we're going to talk about WandaVision and give our predictions for what's going on. If you haven't seen our previous video where we just review the episode and break it down, watch that first before you watch this video. Or if you're just interested in geeky speculation about what's going on, you can just watch this video if you've seen the episodes. Okay, I want to start with the scene that we started with in that video as a beginning to this conversation. So the setting that we're dropped into is 1950s sitcom land with Wanda and Vision. And the first, I guess, obvious question that we didn't ask in the first video was, why are we here? And to me, it seems that if Wanda and Pietro grew up in Sokovia, they probably got some American television, and this is her idealized view of what American life should be. If people aren't familiar with the House of M story in the comics, Wanda is so powerful that she changed all reality to her ideal vision of reality. And I think maybe that's what's happening here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think dealing with the trauma or mourning the loss of Vision from the Avengers movies has set Wanda on this little escape. I think this is her escapism or just dealing with that trauma in her head or somewhere or whatever. And this is something that she's recreated. This power was not really shown in the movies, but it's very prevalent in the comics.
Yeah, definitely comic accurate. And
correct. So she's very powerful in that she can bend reality or whatever it is, and I think she's created this around her to deal with that. And as you said, Nathan, and she's probably reimagining a lot of these things based upon some of her memories, both good and bad memories. And some of the good is probably what we're seeing portrayed in these first two episodes, set against the backdrop of classic TV shows that she probably watched.
Right, but it also seems like she's not in full control, or at least she definitely, I think, has control over this environment in one way or another. But she also seems confused about what's happening from time to time.
Yeah, she's probably lost in its world, right? Like in some sort of dreamlike state, and there are probably certain things that are trying to drag her out of that dreamlike state.
Yeah, and also the title itself, WandaVision, it's like almost like a triple meaning. It's just like Wanda's vision, and then just like Wanda and Vision, and then there's television. So it's all these kind of play on words that are very, very fascinating in terms of the overall show.
Yeah, it was a very clever title to the show. It's lots of things going on there.
Hey, is there something I can help you with, buddy?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Would you be so good as to tell me what it is we do here exactly? Do we?
Yeah, so for Vision's part, he seems like he's definitely confused, but he also, and he's also trying to figure out what's going on. I think that Wanda is confused, but she's content to be confused. She just wants to maintain this life. However, in this episode, and also in the next episode, you see Vision always scratching at the surface because he's a machine, right? He's trying to make sense of what's going on to him, what's going on in this situation. So he's always, if you look back over the two episodes, he's always the one asking the questions. I mean, you see Wanda is confused from time to time, but he's always investigating, trying to figure out more.
So do you think Vision, there's a part of Vision that's actually alive here, or this is her memory of Vision?
I don't know, because he's not acting the way that you would think. So there's a couple of things happening here, right?
Yeah.
He's not acting the way that he would if we were talking about Vision from the movies. However, he's acting the way that he would if he were a character in one of these sitcoms. He's looser. He's more affable. He's acting. So the Wanda is controlling this environment, maybe there's some puppeteering going on here, but there's also his underlying personality that's also fighting against that. He's very logical. He's always trying to figure out. He's very logical, and he's trying to figure out what's going on here, even though he's being pushed by the environment to act in a certain way.
So I think that the questioning that Vision was talking about the productivity in terms of, what do we do here? What is that productivity? What does that mean? Maybe like he's within some type of computer programming because he was artificial intelligence, and then he's doing the computations of this kind of, maybe this large box of computation. He is the AI within this box. Maybe that's what I meant by computation.
Yeah. There's so many guesses as to what could be going on. Is this really a dreamlike state? Did she really create a world somewhere or within her mind? Is Vision somehow a part of this and causing this or contributing to this?
Right.
So many possibilities.
Right.
For clever housewives.
Say.
So this was the commercial,
You
and
set the dial
the first
and get
episode.
the taste back into your
So a
toast.
couple things here. Apparently, this is the same actress and actor in both commercials. This is something that John pointed out and found in our review. You guys have any speculation as to who these people are? Based on the comics, based upon reading cast lists. I mean, who they're supposed to represent?
No, not from reading any of those. For me, it just clicked. Well, my theory when I saw the second commercial and noticed that it was the same actors, and then when you're tying together the fact that in this first commercial, it's supposed to tell you hear the repulsor sound. That's Tony Stark's repulsor from Iron Man when they turn on that toaster, and then that little ticking sound makes it sound like it's a bomb. So it sounds like from Wanda's memories, it's referring back to her parents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm wondering if these two people are her parents that she remembers. Yeah, because in the second video, it's about Baron Strucker on the watch, and then you see that it's Hydra. So again, yet another memory that ties to her and her brother on that one, right? So putting it all together, these are supposed to be Wanda's memories of something bad or traumatic or something significant that happened. Perhaps these two are her parents. So if this is supposed to invoke memories of the bomb that went off that killed her parents by a Stark bomb.
Having dinner, the four of us. When the first shell hits 2 floors below, it makes a hole in the floor. It's big. Our parents go in on the side of the shell. It's painted one word. Stark.
Then maybe these are her parents.
And also that brings up another point, John, that remember in Age of Ultron, Pietro was talking about how the bomb was delayed.
I grab her, roll under the bed, and the second shell hits, but it doesn't go off.
There was the delay of, and they're stuck in the house.
And you see the anxiousness,
so you can see that there was a pause.
Right. You see the anxiousness on the woman's face. She seems very anxious about the toaster ticking. I think you're right, John. I think that these. I mean, who knows what we'll see in the next couple of weeks, but I think that's the best prediction that I've seen about what's going on here.
Then again, they could just be actors.
The other thing that I wanted to point out about this video. So, like at the end, it says "forget the past," and that could be speaking to the audience, but it also could be talking directly to Wanda. Right? She's trying to forget her past.
Every effort to save us, every shift in the bricks, I think this will set it off. We wait for 2 days for Tony Stark to kill us.
This is her future. And we talked a little bit about that in the last video, but I think that's a pointed thing to Wanda specifically.
Yeah.
Why did you...
Oh, Arthur, stop it. Stop it.
Say it one more time.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
And here, like we said in the review, the camera angles change. There's definitely, everyone is feeling tense. You can see the look on Vision's face there. They're kind of breaking character from the sitcom and acting in a very different way, like they would in the movies, actually. So it's interesting. It's like the outside is starting to intrude on this idyllic scene, which is why the camera angles change, and their demeanor changes as well. Any other thoughts here about what's going on?
I personally can't put my finger on it as to why he delayed helping Mr. Hart, waiting for Wanda to say something. So I've been trying to piece that together. I haven't come upon a really good theory yet, but you might be right. It might be something from the outside of this world trying to come through, and it's interfering with how things are going. But yeah,
I've seen speculation,
and also I think that Mrs. Hart. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I see speculation that Wanda is the one who actually started, made him choke. Like he was badgering them for information, and she might have subconsciously made him choke, and not actually not deliberately, but subconsciously made him choke to stop the line of questioning. And that's what pulled them all out of the scene for a second, because he was choking and something serious was happening, and they all broke character from the sitcom. I don't know. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, I'm not sure as to whether or not Mrs. Hart, like you saw that there was almost like a glitchy type of reaction almost to her. Yeah. So it's kind of very weird is that whether or not the characters are part of her fantasy or her reality now, or if she is just like, or are they individuals that are just forced into this role because of the glitchiness. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it was speculated online, and it's been speculated through the trailers and stuff that these might be real people trapped in her reality, and that they're just playing a role. So it's very interesting to kind of see what will happen with that.
Yeah, they might be unwilling participants, or they might be in on it. They might be the puppet masters. It's hard to tell. Of the people that we've seen on screen, the only person who I think is close to possibly being a puppet master is Agnes, the next door neighbor. And there's a lot of speculation online that she's Agatha Harkness, which was a character from the comic book. But we'll have to see.
Yeah. Definitely reminds me of a little bit of the end of Captain America, the First Avenger, when Cap is thawed out from his deep sleep, frozen. And then they try to present a world around him to ease his way into the fact that he's now how many years into the future?
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder if it's something like that, maybe not exactly life model decoys or programming or whatever it is. And these folks are, like you said, Colin, when Mrs. Hart is glitching like that, things were going off script, and she's going, stop it, stop it, stop it.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, you could read her saying stop it, stop it, stop in a couple ways. She could be talking to her husband, or she could be talking about the situation. She wants it to stop, wants Wanda to stop. So it's interesting. A lot of speculation there. Yeah, and then we get to the end of the episode, and we see that sword emblem as the screen pans out. And the last time, or the first time we saw a sword in the MCU is at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. So it's obvious that Nick Fury is on some spaceship, and there at the end of that movie, there were a lot of speculation that he was part of Sword, and that was when people were using sentient world instead of sentient weapon, observation, response, division for Sword. it's hard to tell what sentient weapon is, but I think they renamed it for a very particular reason. I mean, sentient world, it's based upon space travel, but sentient weapon, you can think of Wanda as a sentient weapon. You can think of the Hulk as a sentient weapon. So maybe this new division or this reformed Shield is now their main focus is on keeping tabs on or observing sentient weapons like Wanda, like the Hulk, that can cause havoc in the world.
Yeah, they definitely looking at the different threats, gigantic threats. So that's probably how they formed, or at least this version of it in the cinematic universe for Sword. So I didn't even know about. I completely forgot about the fact at the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home. You're right. That scene where it was clearly Fury's on some ship somewhere, and so yeah, you got a nice tie-in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's also very interesting to find out that that Captain America in Age of Ultron called Wanda and Pietro enhanced individuals, and now it's like they kind of evolved from enhanced, speculating that it coming from enhanced to like sentient weapon. It's very interesting.
Boss.
All right. So the next thing I want to talk about was this sound that we hear throughout the second episode. We hear it here in this scene. Then we hear it again when Wanda is at home alone, and then she finds a helicopter. And we hear it again at the end of the episode. And I think this is obviously Sword trying to break in to the environment several times. And they eventually, I guess, get in through the sewer because we see a Sword agent in a beekeeper suit at the end after Vision hears a sound the last time and Wanda rewinds things. And this coupled with the fact that we have the sound on the radio of the agent saying, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's doing this to you? We get that in the middle of the episode, and we get that at the end of the episode. So it seems like Sword is they're observing what's going on, and they're trying to get in to this environment in some way. What do you guys pull from this?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it points to Wanda being holed up somewhere. Clearly, Sword is trying to make contact or penetrate into whatever she is in. So those sounds it sounds like breaking in, trying to get in there with a helicopter and digging their way in or something like that. And then, of course, in trying to communicate with her as well. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's they're trying to get into whatever environment she's in.
And also, I think that that you don't really know whether or not she trapped, again, going back to the whole the characters that interact with each other, whether or not she trapped them or whether or not they're Sword agents or they're just innocent people or just regular people that just got trapped within her room there, and they're trying to kind of break through so that they can recover their people or recover the individuals that got trapped. So that's still kind of up in the air as to what Sword's intentions are right now.
Right. And if you listen to the radio, you can hear that. So that's Randall Park on the radio in the middle of the episode, and also at the end, trying to get to Wanda. So if you remember from the last Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, he played an FBI agent.
Young lady, I'm a federal agent. I've seen worse things than vomit. Like a lot?
Yes.
Forget it. Move aside.
I guess at this point he's working for Sword now. I don't know. Do you guys remember?
Pay better.
Yeah, they probably do pay better. Do you guys remember the name of the agent from those movies? I mean, I see him as he ran a park, but
I don't remember. I just remember.
I think it's Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo.
You're right.
Okay,
that's right. Yeah, I just remember he just wanted to go to dinner with Scott. So.
And the magic cards.
Yeah.
And the magic cards.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about was at the end, Wanda is pregnant. And I think we talked about in the review, there's all these subliminal messages throughout the episode related to pregnancy. So there's like, for the children, the Vision's boss and his wife are pushing them about children. Agnes is talking about children. She's talking about them sleeping together in the first episode, and then she mentions children a couple times in this episode.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is happening here? I mean, from the comic books and also what's happening in the show here. I mean, I think we all are familiar with Wanda's kids from the comic books, but what do you think is actually happening in the show here?
So the kids in the comics, just to talk a little bit about that, in the House of M storyline, where she has children, as you know, some significant event happens and it causes yet another big event. I'm not going to spoil it here because it may completely spoil where the show might be going. Mm-hmm. But here, I think it goes into her desires, right, of some sort of family or life with Vision. Mm-hmm. And so this is like the next natural progression in their relationship. And of course, fast forwarded, you know. So I think it potentially could lead to, it definitely opens up for some more tragedy later, is my guess. And I think it's going to involve whatever child or children that she may have.
Yeah. In the comics, and I'm not sure if this is the thing that you're going to spoil. I mean, there's a couple of things that happen at the end of House of M, but one thing that does happen is that she loses her kids. That's not the major thing that happens. Right. The major thing that happens at the House of M, who knows what happened, is how they're going to tie this in this show. But she does lose her kids, so maybe that's the tragedy that's coming up. I don't understand. I can't tell from what's going on here is if she's the one pushing to have children because that's her idealized vision of a family, or if other people are pushing, because we already speculated that she has more control over what's happening than other people in this scenario, but she doesn't have total control because she seems confused from time to time. And if there's a puppet master above her, maybe there's someone else pushing her to have kids, and I'm not sure why they would be pushing her to have kids. Do you guys have any ideas?
They want another sentient weapon.
Maybe. Yeah. This is actually probably yeah. It's it could be that, and if that's the case, we don't have to go dark, but then are they impregnating her, or are they trying to make her get pregnant by having these types of dreams to create that child from within, or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also whether or not, how is it's how sinister Sword might be. Is Sword the one that's doing this, or is it some other being that's doing this? Whether or not it's Agnes or some other person that we have not met yet, that's just something that is very, very interesting to find out, to see what's going to happen.
So I don't know if Sword is doing it, because they're definitely asking who's doing this to you, but it's possible that this is Sword's facility. So it's possible that this was Sword's facility, and something is going awry. One thing that we didn't touch on from a previous scene, before we jump to this scene, is Geraldine. So there's not even speculation online. Kevin Feige said last year that the actress playing Geraldine is actually Monica Rambeau from the comics, who was the original Captain Marvel. And then she took on the call name Spectrum. So she's a superhero from the comics. And the last time you saw her, she was in the Captain Marvel movie. Was it Lieutenant Trouble, the little black girl? Yeah. So she's grown up now, and she's apparently a Sword agent. And it's unclear whether she was one of the people that was sent in, because remember, she meets Geraldine after the bang, right? She after the bang, after the helicopter, right? So maybe Geraldine was on the helicopter when because we already talked about the bangs or Sword trying to get in. So maybe that's Geraldine coming in. But also there was a pause when Geraldine said her name. I don't know if I feel like the whole environment is taking over Geraldine's or Monica's personality and overriding it, so that she fits into the sitcom that Wanda is creating.
So that actually triggers another thought. So what if this is like a whole Twilight Zone episode type thing where Wanda, unknowingly is taking over a whole town, right? And whoever lands in there has a part to play outside of their control. So maybe I think that's another speculation there. Monica lands in there and she gets swept up in some part she's supposed to play, and she has no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
speaking of Twilight Zone, I mean, the part where they're talking about for the children, it was very,
yes,
yep,
her wife,
right,
yeah.
And the first thing that Monica says is, "I don't know why I'm here." Like she's definitely confused. As she's a sword agent, she definitely should be. She would definitely have had experience having other identities, but she pauses for a second when she says she's Geraldine. Like she's getting a line or occurs to her, as opposed to an identity that she would have assumed. She would have, as a sword agent, she would have said that immediately. So it's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on with Monica, but obviously it seems like she doesn't have complete control. It doesn't seem like a lot of people have complete control. The only times that you see people regaining a little bit of control is at the end of the first episode when the choking happens, and as you said, maybe the wife is glitching out, and she's losing control. And also when the woman Dottie cuts herself. She seems to be questioning the reality. She says, "Who are you? What is this?" And she hears the agent saying, "Wanda, who's doing this to you?" So I think that's evidence of the outside breaking in and breaking the fantasy from time to time. What do you guys
just want to point out quickly? Monica preceded Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel.
Right. She was the original. She was the original Captain Marvel. And Carol Danvers was originally Ms. Marvel before she became Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one more thing is that there's speculation about what will happen with her children. Are they going to be taking on this reality? And that opens up a lot of speculation about whether or not they are mutants, because now the X-Men are now part of the MCU, and whether or not they are also part of the Young Avengers as well, because of all the different type of young people that are taking the mantle of being the superheroes now. So this online is whether or not they're going to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, through Wanda you get to a lot of different things. You get the Young Avengers because of her children are major characters in the Young Avengers, but you also get you get the multiverse, which because she's going to show up in the Doctor Strange movie, the multiverse movie, and I think the events out of this show are going to open up the multiverse. But you also get mutants. So there's a lot of things that can come out of this show that comic fans are really excited about.
So that's where I guess we can talk a little bit about that. So in that House of M storyline, mutants already exist, right? And at the end of it, most of the mutants are wiped out.
Right.
So obviously in the MCU, there are no mutants yet, at least that we know of, according to the way things have been going. But this obviously is going to be different from the House of M storyline. Maybe it goes backwards. She's the one who introduces the mutants into this world as a result of whatever happens next.
Right. Yeah. So it's lots of questions, lots of speculation, but that's what
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Looking forward to the next episode and more reveals. Well, that's what we think based upon what we saw, and that's what we're speculating based on what we saw, but we want to hear from you. Comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.